It's 19 minutes past 8. The United States President Joe Biden has blamed his predecessor Donald Trump for last year's Capitol riot while marking the first anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. While not mentioning him by name, Mr. Biden said the former president tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. Here's what Mr. Biden had to say when he addressed the country a few hours ago.
Even before the first ballot was cast, the former president was preemptively sowing doubt about the election results. He built his lie over months. It wasn't based on any facts. He was just looking for an excuse, a pretext to cover for the truth. He's not just a former president. He's a defeated former president. Defeated by a margin of over 7 million of your votes in a full and free and fair election. There is simply zero proof the election results were inaccurate.
Joe Biden also said such an insurrection must never happen again. Joining me now is our US correspondent, Simon Marks from Washington, D.C. Morena, Simon, this was pretty strong stuff from Mr. Biden. What else did he have to say?
Morena, Sarah, it was indeed. I mean, this was the day when Joe Biden took the gloves off. We have not seen the president speaking as forcefully or clearly on any issue during his presidency thus far. But today he found the words to excoriate the rioters who ransacked the building on Capitol Hill a year ago today, the president who sent them there, and he engaged in a vigorous defense of the democratic legitimacy of his own administration, perhaps mindful of a new poll here that over the last few days has shown that more than 30% of American voters and more than 70% of Republicans do not believe that he won the presidency in November of 2020 legitimately. And the president put the country on notice, making it clear that even now, a year after those riots on Capitol Hill, democracy is still at high risk.
We must decide, what kind of nation are we going to be? Are we going to be a nation that accepts political violence as a norm? Are we going to be a nation where we allow partisan election officials to overturn the legally expressed will of the people? Are we going to be a nation that lives not by the light of the truth, but in the shadow of lies?
He said the country is in the middle of a battle for its very soul, and he vowed that he would personally defend American democracy. In extraordinary language, he said, "I will stand in the breach," as he noted that conspiracy theories and lies not only have not abated over the last year, but in fact have spread. He spoke of the anger and madness that continues to grip substantial pockets of the electorate here.
What's the reaction been to this speech so far?
From former President Donald Trump, and remember, we thought we were going to hear from him today. Up until a couple of days ago, he planned to hold a press conference today on the first anniversary of January the 6th insurrection. Instead, he scrapped that. He's so far distributed two furious statements to reporters, the first one of which accused President Biden of trying to deflect attention away from his own inadequacies as a president. That statement of course, repeated the falsehood that the 2020 presidential election was rigged. So did the second, much longer, even angrier statement in which he accused Joe Biden of engaging in a web of lies about his, Donald Trump's, ties to Russia. That phrase, web of lies, is ripped directly from Joe Biden's speech because he accused the former president of spinning a web of lies. And again, former President Trump, claimed in that second statement that the 2020 election was rigged. He told his supporters never to stop fighting, that the real crime had occurred on Election Day in 2020. In many ways, the most extraordinary thing that we've witnessed here today was the moment of silence in the House of Representatives that was convened by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, to honour those who lost their lives last January.
U.S. Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, U.S. Capitol Police Officer Howard Livingood, Metropolitan Officer Jeffrey Smith, U.S. Capitol Police Officer Billy Evans of a later assault. Now I ask all members to rise for a moment of silence in their memory.
Well, she asked all members there to rise, but there were only 2 Republicans in the room. Lots of Democrats, of course, but one of those Republicans was Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who, of course, voted to impeach Donald Trump a year ago, and she's on the committee spearheading the investigation into the insurrection. But she was joined, flanked in the front row, by her father, former Vice President Dick Cheney, the man many people used to consider here the kind of right-wing Prince of Darkness in the United States. He is now a traitor to the Republican Party that he has loyally served. There were only the 2 of them there, not a single other Republican in the House of Representatives dared to brook Donald Trump's displeasure, even by showing up and honouring the dead during the course of that moment of silence.
Thanks so much for your time. That was our US correspondent Simon Marks from Washington, D.C.